Hey everybody. So this is Don't Copy That Floppy, coming to you on Chipbit Radio. I'm your host Lex, and I'm joined by your other host.
I'm Dan.
Dan.
I'm joining Lex. As he told you.
He's joining me. So
we are joined.
So as I said, this is Don't Copy That Floppy on Chipbit Radio. We're the first, I think, talking show that they've got on there.
So cutting edge.
I know, right? This radio station is really cool. So you can listen by going to their website, which is chipbit.net, and you can either use the on-site player to play the live radio show, or you could download the playlist file, which loads into iTunes and then just plays the radio station. It's really cool. Check it out.
And if you're listening right now, lucky you. You get to hear us flub our way through our first broadcast. Here goes nothing. Should I do the turtle sound effect?
Way to spoil it.
Let's kick shell!
Yeah. Alrighty, what are we going to talk about this week?
Yeah, so we've got... I'm sorry, I'm also testing... I'm listening to the broadcast over my computer to make sure it's working. It totally is.
Oh, it is
for
great.
all you people that are listening.
Fantastic.
Who already know that.
I'm glad we don't have to just, pray.
Yeah. Man, we're still getting used to the software we're using. This is our first episode.
It made me install Bing by mistake.
Oh, that was a bad
I don't know how it tricked me like that.
That's why we got started late. We were going to start at 7.
Yes.
But no.
But Bing got in the way. That's all it's good for, really.
So, what do we have for today's show, Dan?
Today we have PAX. We're going to talk about PAX.
PAX East.
A whole bunch about PAX East.
Yeah.
Now, PAX West, PAX East. Happened a little while ago, but we haven't talked about it yet, so let's do it.
Sure.
We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff about Xbox, Forbes article about Microsoft getting rid of it,
Yeah.
more or less. Some stuff about Xbox versus PS4. And just console war type things in general. We've got a lot to talk about.
It's an important topic of video games.
And then we are going to do a quick little video game review, which is going to be a regular thing.
Yep, every week we're going to switch off. Dan's going to do one this week, and the next week I'm going to do one.
Yes.
And these are not necessarily games that have just come out, but they're games that we've been playing, or that maybe they're really old and we've just discovered them, or they're classic games that we've always liked and we feel like we
things we feel are
them.
important, things we feel are neat, or things that we feel are so terrible that we want to show them to you.
Oh yeah. We're definitely going to have to do some terrible game reviews.
And then we had one other little thing that you told me to say that I can't remember.
What the thing that we're going to try and close the show with every week is the list of games that are coming out this week.
Of course.
So yeah, we're just going to rattle off a few of those and talk about what we're interested in. What we're not
some weeks we may have more than others.
Yeah.
This week looked a little threadbare.
It's a little dry.
But we'll talk our best about it.
But so yeah, let's get started with some PAX East stuff.
PAX East.
So PAX East was for those who don't know, PAX East is a game convention that happens every year in Boston, Massachusetts. And it is the Penny Arcade Expo. They have a few of them. They have one in Seattle, and they have, I believe, another one that I can't remember where it is. I'm pretty sure it's on the West Coast somewhere.
Yeah. It's probably in San Diego or LA or something. I don't know off the top of my head either.
But it's one of the really great video game conventions.
We know about video games. Clearly.
It's one of the... I really love PAX because it is... it's not as inundated with other junk that isn't about video games, like a lot of the other big
It's still much more video game focused, whereas E3 has moved towards being about stockholders.
Yeah,
and things like that,
and the press. And
stuff.
Stuff.
You can't even go to E3 anymore
unless you're press. Luckily, we're not press.
Oh man, we are technically, aren't we? That's sad. That was easy.
It was so easy.
No wonder video game journalism is garbage.
Oh no. We're totally normal.
I'm having a little bit of a moment here now that I've realized this.
Now you have to hate yourself like you hate all those other video game journalists.
I'm all ready for that.
Oh, no.
Here goes nothing.
So PAX East was April 11th to 13th. And it's, as I was saying, PAX is a lot less about the press and stockholders and like being about movies and stuff. It's more about indie games and game developers.
Yes.
And about the fans, so you can actually go and play games and stuff. Now, I should precursor this conversation by saying neither of us went to PAX East.
Nope.
Because, I mean, I, for one, am very poor.
I have a job.
I mean, I don't have a job. I don't even have that. I just have the show.
I'm not poor, but I don't have time.
I'm really hoping that I get some royalties from the show. Listen.
We're not getting anything.
It's sad. So...
We're getting a bunch of lovely listeners, Alex. That's our prize.
Hopefully.
Please listen to us.
Okay.
So let's stop talking about nothing and start talking about PAX games.
So there were a couple of cool announcements. And there were a couple of announcements that were like, oh my god, I don't care. Like, the fact that Diablo 3 is being ported to PS4.
And Titanfall DLC.
Oh, Titan, you can be in a swap now.
Yay!
Oof.
For only like, whatever, $14.99 or whatever it's probably gonna cost.
So, yeah, no, that's not cool, but there was a lot of really awesome stuff that was announced, like, Civilization Beyond Earth.
Yes, which you watched things about, and
yeah.
I am not I've never been a big Civ guy, not because I don't like it, just haven't been. So I did not even know that had been announced.
Okay, so,
somehow.
So the announcement, to my knowledge, was just a cinematic trailer, like a very short cinematic trailer, with, like, some voiceover and like it's sort of pretty image of like a spaceman.
Voiceover, they got a frou budget on this.
Oh yeah. I mean, traditionally, your Civ games don't have spectacular cutscenes, so this wasn't anything out of the like unexpected or anything. But yeah, it's more just the fact that they're making this game that they announced, or that I don't think they announced a release window, just that they're making it, and I'm so excited. Because I really liked Alpha Centauri, which is the old school.
Oh, yeah. Alpha Centauri.
Yeah.
All I remember about that game is getting killed by brainworms.
Dude, that was the best part. There were brainworms in it.
I know.
But I'm extra excited for it because I have Civ 5, and a lot of the sort of both graphical facelifts and gameplay tweaks that they've made for the recent Civ game, I think were really smart and really cool. Like, combat seems to work a lot better than it did before. I mean, in the old Civ games, you've got things where you would, like, mass troops, kind of like Risk style, where you would just mass a bunch of guys, and then just, like, have them in one big clump, and then attack your opponent with them.
Right.
But with Civ 5, it's a lot more strategic, where you can only have one unit on a tile at a time.
They moved it more towards... It feels more like other RTS games with Civ 5, from what I've seen. Like, it's more similar to the Total War things. Not completely, but they move more in that direction, away from kind of their own old version of what they used to do, you know?
Okay, yeah.
Like, it's different now. They kind of departed from the older Civ style with the newest one.
So yeah, it's, I really like the changes. I think they work very well. So I'm excited to see...
I wasn't saying it was a bad thing.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what they do with what seems like it's probably going to be a remake of Alpha Centauri, where you can do more stuff. I hope there's moon bases. Or moon bases with death lasers.
I want brainworms if we're going to space.
Well, yeah.
Like, that's what I hope for, because they're all I remember.
So that's really cool. I'm excited for it. One of the other things that was sort of like announced was the release window for the Steam controller.
Yeah.
Which seems like a really weird thing to announce because it's the release window for a controller.
Yeah, but people are hyped for this controller, man.
It has touchpads.
I know.
All over it.
I mean, no one cared when Nintendo did it, but it's Steam.
But it's Steam. Listen, I love Steam.
A lot of people love Steam.
The prices are so good.
The prices are really good. There is that whole thing where they can deny you all of your games if they feel like it, though.
They feel like it.
Which they haven't felt like it yet. But I don't know, that Gabe Newell is a bit shifty.
Oh, Newell. Anyway, so the sort of window for release of the controller was between October and November.
And the real exciting thing about that
is it pretty much means that
Steambox is soon after, if not the same time.
Yeah, so, like, it means that unless Steam is doing some really weird stuff that doesn't make any sense, it means that the Steam box is going to be within that window.
Right.
And that's great, because that's not that far away.
Yeah.
And I want a Steam box.
I don't know if I want one yet, but it's still cool. I want you to have a Steam box.
Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome. That's why we're friends.
So that's like, again, like not too much depth to that, but still super cool. What's that tab you got up there?
This is a tab for Murdered Soul Suspect.
Did they talk about that at PAX?
They did.
Oh man.
They did talk about it.
What did they say?
Well, I don't know what they specifically said at PAX, but I just thought we could talk about some of the games that were shown there. Murdered Soul Suspect, I believe, it got a teaser in February, but I believe PAX revealed, like, kind of the deets on what the game's about and all that business.
Very nice.
It's a game being published by Square Enix, made by Airtight Games, who I don't recognize, but that's fine. But it is a murder mystery game set in Massachusetts. That's where we are.
What?
I know, crazy, right?
Nice.
Where you play as a detective who is murdered by a murderer.
And you've got to solve your own
You got to solve your own murder as a ghost. And I will quote from this Wikipedia page on it. You will not rest in peace until you solve your own murder using your ghostly powers.
Ghostly
powers. That sounds pretty cool. And you have to combat demons, apparently. I don't know how I feel about that. I think it might have been cooler as just a mystery puzzle thing.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, I'm curious about this because it feels like it should be more of a slower paced kind of puzzle thriller type game. But now that I see that there's combat and whatnot, I'm a little concerned that it might just turn into kind of an standard action fare sort of thing. Because it's a very cool concept.
Totally.
You could do a lot of cool stuff with it. I just hope they don't kind of squander it so that everybody likes it. I know that sounds bad, but, you can't appeal to everybody.
Yeah.
So I'd rather they do something unique and do it well. But we'll have to wait and see more about it, obviously. Because it's still a ways off.
Yeah.
I know it's coming out in June?
What?
Man, I am not up on this game.
Yeah, this is not the kind of professionalism I expected for our first episode.
Games journalism.
Listen, Yoshi.
This is part of the course. Yoshi's never been in Super Smash before. Not since the first one.
Yeah.
He's returning in the new one
from
a long absence.
So, for those listeners who aren't the guy that runs this radio station, we did a test radio program, and one of our topics
We talked about the Smash Brothers Direct that Nintendo did. And then the resulting IGN coverage of it.
It was bad.
It was pretty bad.
I
kind of didn't know what they were talking about. Even more than me right now, believe it or not.
So, in terms of other, like, AAA type titles, I mean, if you consider Murdered Soul Suspect, because you said that was Square Enix or Capcom?
Well, Square Enix is publishing it.
So it's like, I don't know.
It's got something behind it.
Yeah. We've also got this really cool looking game called Chroma that they talked a lot about, which is the new game from Harmonix.
Oh, cool.
Who are the guys who brought us Rock Band.
Yes.
And they're actually based out of Boston, I believe, so it totally makes sense.
Did Harmonix make the first couple Guitar Hero games as well?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they made all those.
They made the first few and then they left and were replaced, I believe. Or some guys left whatever company makes Guitar Hero and started Harmonix. Something like that.
So they've got a new game they're working on, and it involves music. Again, this is like, we haven't really seen very much gameplay of it. I've seen screenshots.
Seems to be what it is for a lot of these games.
Well, a lot of them are just being announced.
Yeah.
So
we got all the new things for later this year and whatnot.
Yeah. Also, no one wants to give away all the good stuff at PAX, because again, PAX is still not like the big convention.
Save the big money for the investors.
Oh yeah.
Look at all this AAA budget. Look at this game. It appeals to everyone.
So it is here we go. Here's the article on it. It's like an arena combat shooter game.
Okay. I don't know. I only heard this game's name.
Oh, okay.
So lay it on me.
It's like an arena shooter, right? And everything's super like neon and like lots of crystals and
sweet.
things. That's kind of like their style.
Like Blood Dragon.
Yes.
Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon? A little bit?
A little bit. It's, and you use music as your weapon.
Oh, okay, cool.
So it's like you fire stuff and then it makes different musical sounds, and I guess, like, you can get points for the different kills you make with kind of certain together different
notes and whatnot. Yeah,
I don't know exactly, because again, I've only seen the cinematic trailer and a lot of screenshots.
Right.
This looks to me like Rez. Have you ever played Rez?
Yeah, I love Rez.
Dude, it looks
I own Rez.
Yeah, Rez is great.
Like a PS2 copy. I don't have the vibrator, though.
The special Rez vibrator.
Suspiciously, whoever traded that copy of Rez in that I later bought did not trade in the vibrator with it.
Oh, man. They must have really liked that vibrator.
A lot of people did.
Anyway, so my point is, Rez is amazing. Go play it.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
But I think the graphics look very similar to Rez.
Okay.
The fact that you're shooting and there's music happening when you're shooting.
It's a very similar feel.
Yeah.
Do you know the guy who developed Rez has synesthesia?
Oh, man.
That's why he made Rez.
It all makes sense now.
Doesn't it make so much more sense?
So I guess the big difference that I'm seeing with Chroma is that Chroma is not a rail shooter.
Okay.
But otherwise, it looks extremely similar.
Oh, I'm all about that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
I would love a modern update of Rez, more or less.
Sweet.
Like, that sounds fantastic.
So, it looks awesome.
Cool.
Let's see, some of the other games.
We should probably talk about Borderlands.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's big.
Thing. Yeah, tell me about Borderlands.
So we got a third entry in Borderlands. After Borderlands 2, we got Borderlands the pre-sequel.
The pre-sequel?
The pre-sequel.
Oh, yeah, okay.
This is a full game. I thought that this was a DLC up until very recently, but it is apparently a full game.
So, I heard that this is following the stories of side characters.
Yes, between Borderlands 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
and it's going to have entirely new main characters to play as.
Nice.
Yes.
So that sounds cool. I'm excited for that.
I mean, I don't know if there's much more to say. I'm assuming most of the people listening have at least some basic knowledge of Borderlands at this point. It's gotten pretty big.
There've been a couple of them.
So I'm assuming this is going to be pretty much more of the same.
More claptrap.
Except they're saying that there are low gravity areas that affect your character's abilities to breathe and things like that. So
you go to space.
You go to space. You go to space. They said it all fancy here, but you go to space.
That's sweet.
Yes. So all kinds of wacky space shenanigans are sure to happen. There's a picture here of like a robot with a light on its head. I can get behind that.
There's a Titan in this game?
Yeah. Really want to call you a swear word right now for that, but I can't.
Don't do it. There are kids
FCC regulations.
There probably isn't anyone listening, but
I doubt it.
What if there were kids listening then?
What if there were children listening to us right now?
Yeah,
they configured my school or whatever, and they're just enjoying the hell out of it.
So, one of the smaller titles that got announced, I don't think it was announced because I feel like I had heard about this before PAX, but there was a lot of gameplay shown off at PAX, is this game called Broforce.
Oh yeah, Broforce.
It looks awesome.
The Game Grumps played it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they did a few videos of it,
nice.
Which is how I came to discover it.
So this is like Metal Slug, basically.
Game Grumps, please share your money with us.
Oh man, all that sweet YouTube money.
Sweet YouTube bucks is rolling in.
So,
but no, Broforce is super cool.
Yeah.
It is a side-scrolling shooter with entirely destructible terrain, really cool sprite art, where you basically just are killing tons of dudes. But the twist, the hook, if you will, is that you play, it's cooperative play as well, by the way. Yep. And the hook is that you play as quote-unquote bros from action movies and television series. And I believe, is it randomized who you spawn as? I believe, and then you die and you respawn as somebody else. I'm not exactly sure. Watching them play, I couldn't quite figure it out. But it seems like when you die, you are randomly brought back as another bro. A separate bro. But all of them have unique abilities. And the bros I'm referring to are Arnold Schwarzenegger in his Terminator gear, MacGyver, Bruce Willis,
Chuck Norris.
Die Hard Bruce Willis, Chuck Norris, Judge Dredd's in there, RoboCop's in there.
Yes!
Yeah, Snake Plissken's in there.
Yes!
And Blade. is also in there. Blade's a strictly melee character, which is awesome.
Well, that means there's probably going to be vampires in this game.
I'm sure there are somewhere.
Great.
Indiana Jones is in there as well.
Oh, man.
And I know all of the characters also have their own unique attack mode. They all actually attack differently. Indiana Jones has an arcing flare gun that sets stuff on fire. Blade's got his sword. Judge Dredd just has his awesome gun and just shoots big awesome bullets. RoboCop has his awesome gun. A lot of them just have an awesome gun. But they have special abilities as well that are, like, based on who they are. Like, RoboCop has his cool, like, targeting scanner thing, and it targets all the enemies on screen, and then you shoot and all the bullets track to them. Very, very cool. And just looks like a ton of fun, especially co-op.
And that's gonna be out Q2 2014.
That's the quarter we're in right now.
Oh my god.
Be still my beating heart.
And it's coming out for
Borderlands, by the way, Q4. No specific date.
Okay.
But it is coming out this year, apparently.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hopefully they don't embezzle $60 million again.
Oh no. Did that happen?
Randy Pitchford, yeah, man.
Oh. Dude,
That's why Aliens Colonial Marines sucked. That money went to Borderlands 2.
I see.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that right now. That's long past.
Okay.
Pretty sure Randy Pitchford's still working in the game industry, though, which is kinda not cool. Yeah. But anyway.
So Broforce coming out for Windows and consoles.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm getting this.
I'm probably going to pick that up, too, actually.
Dude, we should be bros. We can play it together.
Forget this podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
Just play video games.
We could do a Let's Play over the podcast so you just hear us talking about how great this game is. And like the background noise of us shooting.
Because everybody knows that the best kind of Let's Play is one where you can't see the game they're playing.
Listen, YouTube needs to not have a monopoly over Let's Plays. Radio needs to...
Let's Plays, let's do it. Bring back the serials of the past. In video game form.
Yes. So let's see, what were some of the other...
We got Child of Light. That's coming out super soon.
No, I did not hear about that one.
A lot of people are really excited about it. It's an Ubisoft game, downloadable game for, like, everything. Like, literally everything. And it is a turn-based JRPG, essentially. I mean, it's not Japanese, but that's what it's evoking. And so, yeah, it's just like an old-school JRPG with very cool art that kind of reminds me of Adventure Time, actually. Like a slightly more detailed Adventure Time style. And you play as this little girl who got kidnapped from her home, and she's trying to bring back the sun, moon, and stars.
Nice.
It's very cute. Very fairy tale-y. But it seems like it's going to be a cool little RPG adventure, if that's what you're looking for. It's going to be out soon. I'm not sure how much it's going to cost. But
do you know what
probably
it's
not
coming
too much.
Out for?
Yeah, like PS3, PS4, Wii U, Xbone.
It's like everything.
360. I said at the beginning. It's coming out for everything.
I wasn't paying attention.
I meant that, Alex. So yeah, Child of Light. That's another cool thing. That's coming out on the 30th. So look into it. If that's your bag, baby.
Yeah. I know they talked a little more about Hotline Miami 2.
Right. I still am some kind of, like, horrible blasphemer who hasn't played Hotline Miami.
Dude, that game is intense.
I've seen it played.
It's really hard. At least when you get to the higher levels, it actually does a really good job of scaling up the difficulty.
I want to just plug also, Trials Fusion is coming out at some point. If anyone doesn't know what Trials is, it was this kind of, inconspicuous game on the Xbox, I believe it was on Xbox Live Arcade and maybe PC, where you are like a motocross guy and you just have to go through these obstacle courses, and it's super hard. Like, it's like ball-crushingly hard. But people got really into it. So there's another one coming out, Trials Fusion. It's gonna be on PC, PS4, 360, and Xbone. So, if you like motorcycle injuries, go for that. Sometime in 2014.
Nice. Motorcycle injuries. So Hotline Miami 2, wrong number, is Q3 2014.
Okay.
And it has a bunch of new characters that will give you cool new abilities. Like, for those who haven't played Hotline Miami, like,
educate me, please.
It's top down. It's 2D pixel graphics.
I don't play games with bad graphics, Alex.
Oh man.
So psyched for Broforce, though.
Oh yeah. And you play this guy who's essentially like a hitman. You
Yeah.
get a call on your hotline, in Miami hotline.
Title drop.
And then you gotta get into your like DeLorean and scoot on over to wherever like these guys are hanging out that you gotta kill, and then you gotta like bust into the apartment and you see like, cause it's top down, you see the layout.
Right.
So you'll see like if there's a guy patrolling the next room with like a shotgun, you
Right.
see him walking around.
And the idea is to do it all very fast, right?
Yeah, because it's like one hit, you're dead.
Right. So if you let them swarm you, you're done.
Yeah, like
basically.
immediately.
Yeah.
The damage is very realistic. If you get hit with a shotgun blast, you're dead.
Very good.
But conversely, your damage to them is also very realistic.
Right. So you hit a guy once and he's pretty much out.
Yeah. So the whole gameplay is like you have to run, like you run into a room, like hit a guy upside the head with like a baseball bat, and then run to the next room before his friend can like get over there and fire at you.
Right.
So yeah, it's like really fast. It's very brutal. It's really bloody. Like
yeah, I've seen videos of it and stuff.
it's actually amazing how gory that game
They
can
managed
be
to do
with
it
the kind of
pixel art.
graphics.
Yeah,
it has.
absolutely. People's heads cracking open, and you clearly see it all just like gushing out.
Yeah, it actually caught a lot of flack for stuff like that.
Did it?
Which and there's like
That's
some
strange to me.
Yeah.
Given what else is out there?
It's graphic.
I mean, yeah, but
it's definitely not for kids, and no one's trying to market it to them.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. So the sequel apparently picks up right where the first one left off in the glorious 80s. It's there are just more characters now. So you've got this dude who
I'm assuming it's all new levels too.
well, yeah. So
It's a pretty lame sequel otherwise.
So you've got this one guy who can like dual wield guns and can
nice.
fire in two directions at once.
Very cool.
And you've also got these guys who are like best bros. So
He
you're
plays
playing
two
as
people?
two guys at
Oh,
once.
what?
So
you can control the both separately and go through the level?
yeah, which sounds
wow.
unbearably difficult.
Yeah, but I bet if you got good at it, you
Yeah.
could do some amazing stuff. That's cool.
And some other stuff as well. And those are the two guys that stood out to me. I don't remember.
There's some other ones in there, though.
I'm sure there were. I'm
Okay.
totally blanking on them. But yeah, so it, the other thing about Hotline Miami is it has an awesome soundtrack. If you like...
Yes, I've heard some of the music. It's very cool.
Yeah, if you like electronic, like dance
And it
music.
fits the whole mood of the game really, really
so
well.
good, because it's like kind of got that 80s retro feel, but it's also sort of more like modern electronic music, and it's just like really awesome.
Right.
And they have like a lot of lesser known artists that they found and
Right.
had do music specifically for the game.
Cool.
Yeah, even if you don't like video games, but you might like electronic music, like download the soundtrack to Hotline Miami 1. It's amazing.
Cool.
Okay, so that's
Enough about PAX.
Yeah, let's...
There's a bunch of other stuff, but we covered our bases.
Dude, PAX was great.
You can Google it if you want to know more. Don't Bing it, though. Just Google it.
Dude, don't use Bing.
Please don't.
Please don't.
Bing put like all these ads on IGN when I went there. I was the millionth visitor. It wasn't a joke.
Yeah, I remember that one ad that was like...
I couldn't click the button, though, because it was a JPEG.
It was a flashing text box that looked like...
It looked like a warning box.
Yeah, like an old Windows box. And it had a smiley face, and then it said, "This is not a joke."
I could hear the eep when I saw it. Eep?
And I just thought, man, yeah, that's a good way to click on your ad. Tell them it's not a joke.
It's not a joke.
They'll totally believe
Click
you.
this ad. So anyway, what do we got next? Console war stuff.
Oh man.
Everybody's
okay.
favorite topic.
So this is something that started... Because, I mean, I was reading some articles about the sales numbers for PS4 versus Xbox One.
Right.
And I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting.
When you started, the first thing you sent me was this Forbes article from February.
No, the first thing I found was something else.
Okay.
So the first thing I found was this article from The News Nerd, which is a satire website. Now, at the time, I didn't know that. I'm going to recurse that. Alright, I'm just going to start at the beginning. Listen. I was on Facebook, and you know how people...
Oh.
Whoa.
I just clicked on the title of that article and it opened up a pop-up with something with adult content in it.
Oh no.
Should I enter the game?
Dude, don't do it.
We're live right now.
It's not going to be appropriate.
I'm gonna save that for later.
Just save that link.
Save that link right there.
Bookmark tab.
Yeah, save it in my Bing marks.
Oh no. Okay, so I was on Facebook one day recently, and you know how everybody has these Facebook friends that are people who see joke articles from satire websites and assume they're real.
I did that a couple weeks ago. I was that jerk.
Oh yeah, I think I called you out on that.
You did.
Yeah.
A bunch of people did. I took it in stride, though.
And yeah, you were totally cool with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'll post articles that are they're satire articles, not knowing that they're satire, and be like, "Oh, this thing is so cool," and then you.
I just really wanted it to be real.
Yeah.
Because it was about GameStop being evil. And I mean, they are evil, but they just are better at hiding it than that.
So the article now. I have, I know that I had like one or two people that would always post Onion articles thinking they were true.
That's the worst.
So
How do people not know that the Onion is fake?
I have a few really dumb friends on Facebook.
Apparently.
I knew them from college. Let's just forget about it for now. So, you know, I've tried to block all those people from my newsfeed so I don't have to deal with them.
Yes.
But one of my friends who's like a really smart guy posted this article from the News Nerd.
Should we just read the headline?
Yeah, it's Sony Computer Entertainment buys Xbox from Microsoft.
Yes.
And this article was from March 24th.
Let's be real. Sony doesn't have enough money to buy anything right now.
No, they totally don't.
For one.
But that is actually the only part of this article that makes it ridiculous. Like, that's the not believable part of this article.
Really?
Well, this is the thing. I saw the article, and I assumed it was true because someone who doesn't usually post, satire articles was posting it, and he thought it was real. So I was like, oh, well, he probably knows what he's talking about. I'll go and look at it. I look at it, I'm like, man, is this really true? So it
must be with these other articles. Obama to erect 700-mile fence to keep Americans from leaving.
Yeah.
That sounds legit.
I know. So I had, I looked at that.
Trick Daddy announces the Eat a Booty Gang. And I'll end on that one.
Yeah. So I looked at the other articles the site was putting out, and then I was like, oh, okay, so this is definitely a satire site.
Yes.
And then after angrily posting on Facebook being like, dude, this wasn't real. Because I was so ashamed that he got me to click on it. But then I was thinking about the article, and I was reading it, and the article is actually, like, pretty reasonable. It's saying, like, okay, so within this joke article, they're saying, like, so Xbox has not been making a lot of money, and with their current sales figures, which are much lower than Sony's, Sony was like, hey, here's $32 billion, we're gonna buy the Xbox brand off of Microsoft.
Right.
And I was thinking about that, and I was like, that seems totally plausible. Not that Sony would buy it, because Sony doesn't have the extra money lying around.
No.
But the idea of Microsoft selling the Xbox brand
is not super far-fetched.
Yeah, and then I was digging around online because I was like, you know, is this like super far-fetched? And I found a Forbes article that totally
which is what you sent to me.
Yeah. That totally makes the argument that it is totally readable. Obviously, the Forbes article is not in response to the satire.
Although the Forbes article also talks more in general about how currently all of the big three in video gaming are not doing too hot.
They're not. And
especially in the console market specifically.
So this Forbes article is from, it's a little old. It's not super old, but it's from what?
18th of February.
18th of February. So it's like around the beginning of the year. So we knew that
this was before the actual sales figures had come out.
Yeah.
Right?
But this was after the holiday season.
I mean, aside from Wii U.
Yeah. but this was after the initial... This was after the initial reports from the holiday season.
Yes.
Which was like after the launch.
Yes.
So it's certainly factoring in that stuff, which is important.
Yeah. But we didn't have its hard numbers yet.
Yeah.
For the Xbox and the PS4.
But this is such an interesting article. So let's see. It's Microsoft should consider getting out of gaming. And again, because this is from Forbes, Forbes...
They're speaking about it from a business standpoint.
Yeah.
Not a, we want to see video games standpoint.
Forbes is also a very credible source, I think.
For the most part, yeah. They do a lot of editorial pieces. There are a lot of opinion pieces on Forbes, but they're usually by people who are smart.
Yeah.
And reputable.
And they
or both.
And they definitely cite their sources.
Yes,
this article
absolutely.
has tons of that in it.
Yeah.
So one of the things that this article mentions is that everybody who's selling consoles usually sells them at a loss.
Yeah.
Because their theory is that the games...
make it back on software.
Yeah.
And like accessories and things like that.
And so I was like, oh, okay, so that's really interesting to know. So it actually talks about how Microsoft has been hemorrhaging money on the entire Xbox line, since it started. I think it said that the total was about $2 billion or something that they've lost so far.
Right.
And
the 360's failure rate didn't help that.
Jeez, yeah, I forgot about that.
That was a mess.
Whereas if you look at Sony's this article is proposing that Sony is winning the console war primarily because while they lost a ton of money on the PS3,
yes,
which was a 4-year period, when the PS2 was out, that actually was making them a lot of money.
The PS2 has sold more units than most other game systems combined.
Which is probably why they only stopped making games for it a couple of years ago.
Yeah. The PS2 sold an absurd amount of consoles.
So, and then the PS1 did fairly well, although I don't necessarily have numbers on that. But, and since projections are the PS4, it's still losing the money right now, since the sales numbers are so good and continue to be so good.
Yes.
It's probably going to end up breaking them even or making them money, whereas...
Right. I mean, the PS3 had a slow start, too, is one thing to think about. And now it's doing pretty okay.
Alright.
I mean, it doesn't really matter as much now, I guess.
From what they're talking about here, overall, that system...
From where it started, it came pretty far.
It certainly did. Hey, it was a very reasonably priced Blu-ray player when it came out.
Yeah, $599.99.
So, yeah, a lot of what this is talking about is also how Microsoft has abandoned some other stuff because it's not going as well. One of the things that it mentions is Microsoft is abandoning Windows XP. And I'm just dude, I don't think they're abandoning it so much as it's a really old OS and they're just moving on.
Finally. Yeah, when did XP come out?
A long time ago. That was man, I remember buying that when it was not new in 2009.
Yeah.
So...
Did that come out in 04 or something?
Yeah. Probably around then.
Yeah.
We're professional here. We know all our dates.
Whatever.
Well, okay, so it also goes on to talk about how, it draws a comparison to IBM back in the 70s when they were trying to get into home computing, and how they were realizing that they weren't going to turn a profit, and it was, not lucrative for them to, stay to try and compete with other businesses, so they sort of just cut and run. Yeah. And what this journalist from Forbes is trying to say is maybe Microsoft should just be listen, we've been losing money on Xbox since Xbox started.
Right.
And the fact that our numbers on Xbox One have been consistently, significantly lower than PS4, we should try to just, cut our losses and sell to a different video game company. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that he says is they should sell to Nintendo.
Right.
Which I found really interesting, because again, I don't think Nintendo has the money to buy them.
No.
But, then...
Not after the Wii U.
But then Nintendo would be big enough to compete with Sony, and then it would be a two-console war. Whereas right now, what I think we're seeing is Xbox versus PlayStation, and because the Wii U did so poorly, their numbers are so low that they're essentially not in the race right now.
Right.
Assuming we're thinking about it like a race, which for the terms of these articles we are.
Yeah. I'm gonna chime in on all this. It's interesting to speculate about this sort of thing as far as the console wars go, but at the same time, I feel like we've kind of hit this deadlock between these three companies as far as their consoles go, which is that all three of them are trying so hard to be the one video game console, especially Microsoft, that none of them will be willing to concede to the others.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I know that there's a whole business thing going on behind this with all the stockholders who have opinions that matter as far as what the company does.
Mm-hmm.
But in spite of that, given how much Microsoft has poured into the Xbox One, just advertising it and developing it, and now getting the software published on it and everything is, like, I don't think they're just going to back out of that. Even if they were to get a good offer from Nintendo or Sony or whoever.
I think that at least at this point, you're definitely right. Because,
right.
I mean, especially
this may change in the next few years.
Yes,
as we go down the line.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, if next holiday season, say...
If Microsoft still can't...
Yeah, say that, like, Microsoft...
Can't get it together.
Yeah, say their games are, like, either not good or just...
Well, they've got that Titanfall DLC coming. They're set.
You can be in a swamp.
You can be in a swamp, you guys.
Or like...
$14.99.
Let's say...
I don't even know if that's how much it costs.
I think it is.
I'm assuming that, because that's what all, like, the Call of Duty DLC cost.
But yeah, so let's...
Frickin' highway robbery.
So let's assume that next holiday season, the, like, games for the Xbox One, like, don't sell at all, and the PS4 are just, like, destroying them.
Yes.
I think by... Like, after that happens, or maybe after the next E3, not the upcoming one, but the next one.
2015.
After that,
E3. Yeah.
If things have either stayed the way they are now in terms of sales for the Xbox One, or have gotten worse,
Microsoft's going to be doing something.
They'll be they'll have to consider that.
Right.
Now that's like a kind of unlikely scenario.
Yeah.
But, you know,
I mean, it's not like there's no software on the way. Like, there are things coming out that are going to sell systems.
Yeah.
It's just, will they sell enough?
Now,
Borderlands is going to sell systems. I'm sure of it. Given the hubbub when Borderlands 2 was coming out, like, that's going to sell systems. I worked back at GameStop when Borderlands 2 came out, and people were falling all over themselves to get that game when it came out, and pre-orders were through the roof for that thing. So just speaking from experience, this new Borderlands game, as long as everybody realizes that it's actually a third game, because it doesn't have a big dumb 3 in the title, so, you know, faith is low in the consumer here, but people are going to buy Xbox Ones for Borderlands. Although they'll probably buy PS4s for Borderlands, too. And I'm sure there's going to be some other system sellers on the way.
Yeah. Now, the recent numbers that had made me look at this Forbes article and be like, this is a good prediction.
So we have the actual numbers now, though.
Yeah, the numbers that came out, I think it was last week.
Yes.
Is that Sony claims to have sold 7 million PS4 systems to consumers, and Microsoft revealed that it had shipped just 5 million. Which actually means it sold less. Like, maybe it sold all of those. Yeah. But let's assume that it sold less than 5 million.
I'm gonna admit that I was really happy when I heard that.
So yeah, they're getting, like, Xbox One got pretty thoroughly stuffed.
There's a pretty wide difference there.
Yeah.
In sales. What about Wii U, Alex?
The Wii U is, like, as I said, it's, like, not even on the chart. It's so
12?
low.
12, maybe?
Maybe.
I mean, I have one, but I don't know about anybody else.
So, yeah, it's
not great.
It's not great. So
Nintendo's got their handhelds, at least.
It's true.
They do have their handhelds.
What's funny is...
And nobody's going to challenge them there.
One of the funniest things about the Forbes article, and about some other articles going back, is they assume that people are going to, like, leave home consoles and go to handheld stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, and specifically to mobile gaming.
Yeah, mobile gaming is like, there's so much talking about it right now.
A lot of business analysts in different articles on Forbes.
A bunch of people have been
Daily
saying
Finance.
that Nintendo should become a mobile gaming company.
I actually don't disagree with that. I think that's a really interesting idea. But,
I don't disagree with it either.
I don't think what they're talking about is that. I think a lot of the people, the financial people who are talking about that, are talking about iPhone and iPad apps.
Okay.
Is what they're thinking of. Because they're thinking, okay, everybody at this point has a smartphone, or at least most people.
Right.
Which means everybody already has the platform for these games.
And now, from a business standpoint, they're great. Because they cost nothing to develop. They cost nothing for consumers to buy.
Yeah.
And they're addictive. and easy to pick up and play.
Definitely.
Which
is why I think these analysts are looking at that and saying, like, oh, well, of course these are going to take over gaming.
At the same time, that strikes me as kind of tragic.
Well, no, because these sales numbers with the PS4 at least tell me that that's not what's happening. Okay. That's not what's going to happen. Yes. Because I think mobile games, what a lot of analysts aren't realizing, basically is just that they don't know gamers.
Yeah, there still is a large core market of gamers who don't give half of a big swear word about mobile games.
Yeah.
Myself included.
And a lot of the mobile games that are selling don't, and as you said, they're like addictive games. They don't seem to sell to gamers. They seem to sell to people who have smartphones who
Candy Crush.
Yeah. Who aren't gamers, right?
Right.
Who just want to play a game on their phone for a while.
Talking old people. Mostly old people.
College girls.
And little kids, too.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like, so it's more that I think gaming has found...
And just idiots.
I think it's more that gaming has found a new market with those people.
Yes, absolutely. There's a new branch of it.
But the people who are already into gaming, who are buying the consoles, are not going to stop buying their consoles and switch over to.
And obviously, there's some overlap. But like you said, there's no way that the core gaming market that's been around forever is going to say, like, wait, why have I not been playing just mobile games all of these years? And where has this been all my life?
And I think, again, that's reflected in the fact that these consoles are still selling incredibly well. Now, maybe in 10 years this will be a different thing, because mobile games will be, like, super sick nasty by comparison.
God, I hope so.
Yeah, like, I mean, the stuff they can do with the Vita... It's really impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. It's too bad there's no games on it.
I know, right? But let's say, like, in 10 years they can do that with a normal smartphone, or something better than that with a smartphone, and that's what apps become. I could see this being a decent argument when that technology surfaces. Right. But I don't think that's happening yet.
No. But it's something to think about on the horizon.
Yeah. So that's really the crux of that. Let me see if I had... There was also this article in HuffPost that was talking about how, like, listen, you guys shouldn't think of it as a console war, or the fact that, like, they're all competing with each other is good, because that means we'll get more innovation. And it's, like, kind of the same BS that I hear a lot about how it's great to have console wars.
Right.
And partly it's true because, like, yes, they're trying to...
Competition breeds innovation. It's true.
But at the same time, look at what's coming out. Well, lots of Call of Duties. There's an Assassin's Creed every year.
Because the competition is advertising competition. Yeah. It's not game competition.
And a lot of these developers...
they found games that work.
Yeah, so they're going to keep rehashing them.
Right, and just making them exclusives. So it's like, you can only play brown and gray shooter, X on the Xbone, but you can play gray and brown shooter X on the PS4. Mm-hmm. And they're essentially the same game with a different skin.
So the fact that those games dominate the market, I think, is a disincentive for any kind of innovation happening.
Yeah. And they eat up all the funding as well from publishers.
Now, thank
God for the indie game market. Now, if they could just stop making platformers...
Hey, Broforce is a partial platformer.
Partial platformer.
You can blow those platforms up.
I'm not saying all the platformer indie games are bad. Plenty of them are great. But let's get some variety in here, people.
No, I think that there is actually a lot of variety in the indie market. And I think that...
I'm being dramatic, I know.
That, again, why I'm so excited about the Steam box.
Yes.
Is because I think the real innovation that's happening is in the PC indie game market. Right. Like, obviously some of that is coming to consoles, but the vast majority of it is on Steam.
And unlike the Ouya, the Steam box has Valve behind it, backing it.
Definitely.
So, that is a big boost.
So that's why...
Because Valve's a pretty strong company right now.
Yeah, and like, all of those... this need for Steam to combat the consoles in sort of the same way that PCs have always been combating consoles.
Right.
I think that's breeding innovation, but consoles battling each other doesn't seem to be.
Right.
So yeah, that's where I think the real innovation is coming.
And like I said,
excited about those things.
The console war is more a war fought in advertising than it is in games. It's just who can wave their dick around the most and get the most people to bite on. I'm sorry if that's gross.
It's a little bit gross. A little bit painful sounding. So now, we
Probably move on to our little wrap-ups.
Yeah, we haven't been timing this episode, unless our software does that.
I don't know if it does. Let me check.
You click on it and see?
Not that I can tell.
Okay, so
I believe we started around 7:25 or so, though.
I believe so.
We've got about 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, so our show is always going to be an hour. At some point, we're going to start on the hour.
Yep.
It's going to be great.
Yep. There was some hullabaloo before this week's episode, so...
Do you know what time it is?
Pizza time!
Yes.
Is that what time it is?
That's what time it is.
Good. I had to find the button.
We're not actually going to eat pizza on the show. Although one time
We
we should definitely do a show where we do that.
But we're not going to.
We're not going to.
Right. We're not going to.
We just wanted to use the soundboard.
Yes. They
Anyway,
played Turtles in Time and it charmed us.
we're going to be adding a lot more sound effects to that board and
We should.
using it significantly.
Toilet flush, man.
It's going to get so
We're a
annoying
radio show. Toilet flushes.
all the time.
We need them.
Every time we talk about IGN.
Yes. Oh, yes. And Kotaku.
Oh, Kotaku.
Can we please toilet flush Kotaku away forever?
So anyway, our segments that we like to close out the show with is a game review.
Weekly review!
As we stated at the beginning of the show. So this week...
A weekly game release roundup.
Yeah.
After that.
So this week, Dan is doing the review. So
Yes.
I guess just take it away.
Well, I'm going to review a game that's near and dear to my heart. Fairly recent one. That nobody played. But you should.
Is it because it was on the Wii U? Is that
I think that's
part.
part of why no one played it. I think there's a lot of reasons why no one played it, and if I have enough time, I'll get into that. This game, I played it. I bought a Wii U for it after watching the trailer. I do not regret that decision in the slightest, and it rapidly made its way onto my favorite list of favorite games, period. This game is called The Wonderful 101, or Wonderful 101. I don't know if there's a proper way to say it. But, this is a third-person action game made by, Platinum Games, published by Nintendo, and helmed by Hideki Kamiya, who is the guy behind Okami, Bayonetta, and Beautiful Joe, I think are the big things that he's known for. So, The Wonderful 101, it is an amazing superhero video game. The basic gist of it is, Earth is invaded by aliens, tons and tons of giant aliens, and you take control of the 100 superhero team that Earth has to fight off this invasion force. And now, if you're wondering how you play as 100 people, it's great. The entire game is set up in an isometric point of view, like, Pikmin or old, like, Baldur's Gate games, old RTS style games.
Nice.
And you navigate through these 3D environments with, your entire team. You're basically playing as this huge cluster of superheroes. You have one leader at any given time, and those leaders can each form the team into one of 7 different weapons that you use. So the team members literally bond together into giant fists, giant swords, a giant gun that fires heroes as bullets at your enemies, and you use these abilities to just fight everything that comes your way. It's a completely pure action game experience. There's nothing else really going on with it. You just fight.
That's interesting. I thought there would be some puzzles in there.
There are, but they're super, super minor. Like, they are barely a thing. And I suppose some of the fights have puzzle elements, like you need to figure out what to use where and everything, but it's usually very straightforward. And most of the game is more testing your skill and ability to use all your powers to their fullest potential. Very, very skill-based game. Very, very difficult, even on normal mode, actually. But it just charmed the pants off of me. This game has more charm than it knows what to do with, which is something that is so sorely needed in video games today, I feel like. We're getting so much stuff that's completely the same as everything else. And this game came along and is totally unique, and it came out back in September, worldwide, and I believe it still hasn't broken 200,000 sales. Worldwide.
Really?
Really.
Oh, man.
And it was a very high budget title as well, so they lost a lot of money on it, which is a shame because it's fantastic. Reviewers didn't really have much fanfare about it because I feel like they didn't have enough time spent with it to fully appreciate it. But anyway, I'm going to touch on the basic gist of game review. Graphics, The graphics are definitely dated. They are not next gen by any stretch of the imagination. This game could have definitely run on the PS3 or 360 with no trouble. But it runs beautifully. You get a nice smooth, 60 frames per second most of the time. And art-wise, it's super colorful. The environments are gorgeous. The enemies are gorgeous. And your characters, while they are very tiny and not very well modeled, because they are so little and there are so many of them, they do the job. And in cutscenes, they look fantastic. So yeah, graphics, super cool, very stylized, though, kind of a comic booky anime look to it. So Western and Eastern art kind of fused. Sound design, the music is incredible. It is some real-ass superhero music. Even if you don't feel like playing the game or you don't have a Wii U and you can't, go on and just look up the Unstoppable 101, which is the game's main theme. It's a vocal track about the superhero team, and it is just spectacular. It is hilarious. The game's got a wonderful writing. The story is actually really good. I went into it expecting nothing from the story, go fight the aliens. I came out of that with a lot of emotions. It got something out of me, man. It was good. There's a lot of emotion flying around. The characters are all really unique. They're all very well acted in both Japanese and English. The English audio for the game is fantastic. Wonder Red, the main character, he moved me. His English voice actor did a stellar job. Whoever you are, mysterious man, thank you for lending your voice to this game. All the sound effects for combat and everything are really, really satisfying. The game's got a nice chunk of playtime. You got 12 to 15 hours out of your first playthrough on normal mode. There's 2 other difficulty levels to unlock, hard and 101% hard. All sorts of unlockables you can get from playing through those higher difficulties and completing challenges. I've pumped 60 some odd hours into the game and I'm still not done yet, which for an action game nowadays is way more than most people can ask for.
Yeah.
So it is worth your money. It is worth your time.
It is worth buying a Wii U.
It is, that's hard to say. If you are looking for one of the best action games to have come out in quite a long time, then yes. I feel like it has enough playtime that if that's what you're looking for, it is worth the purchase of the Wii U. And the Wii U, didn't do too great, but it's a good console. I didn't expect anything from it when I got it. I thought the controller was stupid, but I wanted to play Wonderful 101. It looked like it was right up my alley. And, I really like it. I think it's a good console, and I just wish more developers and people were paying attention to it, I guess. Anyway, I'm gonna ramble a lot if I keep talking about the Wonderful 101. So, please check it out, and extra please, if you can, buy it. Please buy this video game. I think it's dropped in price to $30 now.
Oh man.
I bought it at $60. Absolutely worth it. You have no excuse. If you own a Wii U, you have literally no excuse not to own this game.
Well, that's true.
If you don't own a Wii U and you consider yourself a fan of action games like Bayonetta, Devil May Cry, all that awesome stuff, and you don't own this game, buy a Wii U for it.
You're doing yourself a disservice.
You will love it if you love those games. If you just want to play a super idealistic, fun game where you get to save the Earth, oh man, you can't do better. The Wonderful 101. Fantastic. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, if I'm going to throw a number at the end.
What would you say your GameSpot score is?
My GameSpot for it is 10 out of 10. It's okay. Anyway, I ate up a lot of time talking about my new favorite video game. So, let's get to those game releases. Luckily, we don't have much to talk about.
So, game releases for this week, and I'm going to apologize in advance. We use a GameInformer.com list, which really, not the fact that it's Game Informer, although I guess also that, but mostly that this is just talking about AAA titles, really.
It's not going to have indie stuff. But we'll throw in indie stuff if we know about it.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to keep digging around for a more comprehensive list of, everything that's coming out.
Yeah.
Because I do want to talk about things besides AAA titles that are coming out. So yeah, this week, 5 things, but most of them are ports, so, who cares?
One of them's pretty important, I think.
We have Batman Arkham Origins Cold Heart DLC, which came out, a couple days ago.
I'm sure someone's looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Is that all we have to say about that one?
That's
a shame.
Yeah. Demon Gaze for the Vita.
Yes. If you want a game for your Vita, here's one.
Here's one. I actually don't know much about it.
Also, if you do have a Vita and you're looking for something fun to play, try Soul Sacrifice if you had one.
Oh,
I'm just
yeah.
gonna throw that there.
I've heard a lot about
That game had my favorite video game story of 2013, bar none. That game had a phenomenal story and I didn't expect it. Well, totally blindsided me. I cried. I'll admit it.
Strong Men also cry.
Strong Men also cry. Wonderful Ones also cry.
So The Walking Dead, Season 2, Episodes 1 and 2 are coming out for the Vita.
For the Vita.
Port. Dark Souls 2 coming out for the PC.
Dark Souls 2 came out for the PC today.
So again, this is a port.
It's a port, but it's a port a lot of people have been looking forward to.
Oh, definitely.
Because there was all that fighting tooth and nail to get Dark Souls 1 ported to the PC.
Does this mean there's going to be modding?
I assume so.
That's a good time.
That is a really good time. Because Dark Souls 2 is a fantastic game as is. Like that's solid 9 out of 10 right there. It's pretty okay.
It's pretty okay.
It's an alright game, so 9 out of 10. But with mods, you can push that up to 12 out of 10 if you want to.
Get some Macho Man.
Make it, decent.
Yeah, one of the things
get some Macho Man nights in there.
One of the things I loved about
Skyrim
is I played it on my friend's console a lot when it first came out.
I got it for the PC.
Yeah,
when I first got it. I don't regret that for a second.
Yeah, and then
just great mods.
Yeah, because then later I was like, oh, it's on sale on Steam for $7.
You could mod it to make it a good game.
Then I discovered the mod community.
Yeah.
And, oh man, there's so many cool mods for that. Even if you just want cooler weather effects.
Oh yeah, definitely. Or just good textures.
Yeah.
No offense, Bethesda, but...
or new monsters, new dungeons.
Right.
That I just love that with PC games you have a lot of those options.
Definitely.
So
Dark Souls 2.
Like Dark Souls.
If the modding community jumps on it, we're going to see some awesome stuff. The other thing I want to bring up about Dark Souls 2 PC is that before Dark Souls 2 released, all the tech demos of it were shown with these amazing dynamic lighting effects. It looked absolutely gorgeous. And the game released, and its final release version has next to none of those lighting effects in it. Still a great game, but does not look nearly as good as was promised. Now, this was apparently due to console limitations more than anything else. They realized that they could not get the game to run smoothly with all those effects going, unfortunately, on last generation's hardware, obviously. So a lot of people were looking forward to the PC version in the hopes that all of that dynamic lighting would be in it. Apparently it is not.
It's not.
However, some people seem to think that it is still in the game. It's all just been disabled for whatever reason. So I feel like people are going to be digging through the game files to try and fix that, if that is true. And if not, I'm sure the modding community is going to jump right on trying to add those lighting effects into the final product of the game. And I know the textures are a bit sharper on the PC version. I will admit it does look a bit nicer from the screenshots I've seen. But other than that, same great game. Enjoy it.
Whole new place.
Yep. If you haven't been totally spoiled to hell and back already, enjoy your first playthrough of Dark Souls 2, PC gamers.
The last thing that came out today for the Wii U, something else to buy on your Wii U.
Oh my goodness.
Is ports of old Nintendo games.
Fantastic!
The NES Remix 2, which includes such stuff as Dr. Mario.
Alright.
Kid Icarus.
Okay.
Kirby's Adventure.
Right.
Metroid.
That's good.
Punch-Out.
Alright.
Super Mario Brothers, The Lost Levels, Super Mario Brothers 2 and 3, Wario's Woods, and Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link.
Everybody's favorite.
And a couple of other things like ice hockey, Mario Open Golf. Okay.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. But no,
throw it on there, throw it on the pile.
A bunch of really solid Nintendo games.
So, if you have a Wii U, why don't you play some NES games? But for real, if you have a Wii U, go buy Wonderful 101.
Yeah. There's something you should actually buy with the Wii U.
For real, that game needs attention. That game deserves so much more attention than it got. It's unique. Oh my god.
Alright.
God forbid big games are unique. So, yeah, that about does it.
That about does it, and I think we're a little over an hour.
A little bit. But that's fine.
Probably gonna...
That was probably my fault.
Just took too long right now.
Can't stop.
All those 101.
There's a lot of them to talk about.
Yeah. So
They're all unique, by the way.
So you've been listening to Don't Copy That Floppy.
Don't copy that floppy.
We are going to be a weekly video game news,
Probably every Friday
show.
night.
Probably every Friday night.
Probably around 7.
Probably around 7. Probably.
Probably talking about video games.
And how much we hate other video game journalists.
Yes.
There'll be a lot of that.
Eventually, it will turn into self-hatred, so you can look forward to that.
My
Probably a lot of
toes!
sound
My
effects.
toes!
Probably a lot of sound effects. Like that one? Did it play?
I think it did.
Okay.
I like how we're always like, probably a lot of sound effects, and then it just goes silent for like 5 seconds.
I
while
need
we
to
find
reach
the
over to my
effect.
computer and find the right effect.
We'll get better at it, don't worry.
We'll do it.
But thank you guys
I think we
for
should just make
listening.
a system to automatically play the toilet flush every time we say IGN.
It'll voice recognition it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's been a lovely time with you, everybody.
Yeah, and this is, again, you're listening to Chipbit Radio.
Yes.
You can find us at chipbit.net, where you can either listen to the embedded player on the site, or you can download the playlist file and listen to it through iTunes.
Sure can.
Stream the station.
And we're going to have like an archive or something, so go back and listen to our old broadcasts.
Yeah, eventually,
if you feel like
eventually we're going to have a page. We're going to have these shows up on there. Once we figure that out, we'll be plugging the URL for that specifically. But yeah, I guess for now, enjoy the rest of your evening. If you're one of our UK listeners, because we know the station is based out of there.
I always forget that.
Listen, it's really late where you are.
Yeah.
Please go to bed.
Please go to bed. And then wake up in the morning and buy the wonderful 101.
Yes. All right. So yeah, thanks again.